Hey, fellow patriots, welcome to the Patriots of the American Republic. I've got two of my good friends here, Ray from the Ray Infinity Show, and I've got Osiris from Stuck in the Middle. Both of these guys are going to join me and weigh in on something that's really important and something that's been bothering me for quite some time. But before we get into it, Ray, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Hello, everyone there. I'm joining my buddy Carlos and my buddy Osiris. I'm a conservative. We're all podcast hosts. I am the host of a conservative podcast. I started it because I started because I had so many thoughts building up and I just wanted to get them out. So all I did was just buy a mic, then just started recording. It's pretty simple for me.
Awesome. Well, welcome, brother. Welcome to the show. And Osiris has been on our show before, and we're happy to have him back, Osiris.
Oh, great to be back. Thank you for having me. Just like Ray, I just grabbed a mic, camera, at first an iPad, went into my basement. Now you got a platform. So let's go. I love my country is United States of America. I've always loved the country, but as people started to show more hatred towards what I view as hatred toward, I love it even more. I studied it even more, and I talk about it on my channel. Visit my website, middlemaga.com. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, that's actually the topic that we're going to talk on and focus on today is this anti-American sentiment that has been fermenting for the past several years. So I would like to maybe start with getting your views on when you first noticed this anti-American movement. Ray, I'll start out with you.
When I first started was when C-19 first started. That was the moment it happened. Because like I've told you both before 2020, I was blue pilled clearly, and it was like I didn't do a whole lot of research. I'll fully admit that, no problem with admitting that. And then the first time I saw anti-Americanism being pushed was the moment David Icke was banned. I'm pretty sure you guys know who he is, even though he's not an American, but he was still pushing a lot of pro-American stuff on his own show. And then when I saw him get banned because off American platforms like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, because I was always under the interpretation that the First Amendment applied everywhere. I didn't know that the private companies could just ban someone just because they disagreed with them. And even at that time, before I started doing more research, I didn't believe most of the stuff David Icke ever said. I thought it was just a whole bunch of nonsense. And then all of a sudden, after that, I started doing more research and seeing this kind of stuff. And then the next thing that happened, we saw what happened with George Floyd. After I won't comment on that too much. Don't want to get this channel in trouble. But you know what I'm referring to. And then you saw a lot of people. I thought you saw people coming out and just rioting. The first couple of days, it truly was just protest. The first couple of days it was. Then all of a sudden, late at the end of the week, they were just started rioting, burning down, and smashing cars. I'm fighting with police officers. I was like, okay, this has gone too far right now. And then all of a sudden, you saw when they took over a block in Seattle. I was like, and they were pushing it it's just peaceful protest. They just took this over. They took it over. That's illegal. You can't take over something that doesn't belong to you. And then it just started getting worse and worse. And then, okay, I'm not sure if I should say this, but we'll just say something in November of 2020 happened. We'll just leave it at that. And then January 6th, which was about a couple months later, and then how I saw the media was portraying this and basically calling anyone who is a pro-Trump or pro-patriotism is basically now a terrorist. And now the FBI is going to pretty much come after you now. So, and then once that happened, I was like, I'm out. I'm out of this left-wing culture. No, that's how I became a conservative. And that's when the first time I ever saw anti-Americanism ever pushed. Because I never thought about this beforehand, even when I was younger. Because I'm still relatively young. I'm only 20 years old. And in 2020, I was only 18. So, of course, I didn't do a whole lot of research. And I was a little ignorant, but I've gotten wiser over the last 2 years. So,
Good for you. What about you, Osiris? What was your first notice of anti-Americanism?
Man, my story is very similar to Ray's. I was blue-pilled all the way up, even after the pandemic started. Was not, and for those who don't know these blue pill terms, I would say I describe it as everything I saw on TV. Maybe I didn't believe everything, but I trusted it. That trust is gone now. And Ray said basically everything when they said lockdowns, and then all of a sudden people started protesting, and then it was okay. That was the red pill moment. But I get red pilled every day. I'm gonna take it to the current. PayPal, this thing that went down with PayPal. PayPal tried to release, in fact, on it now, they tried to release a policy where they could take up to $2,500 per transaction out of your bank account. Why? If you said something they didn't like. I don't know if I've ever seen anything more anti-American, over the last, in my lifetime, over the last 3 decades or something like that. You have to go way back to find discrimination, that type of stuff. That, not only am I red-pilled, I get red-pilled every day seeing this kind of stuff.
Good thing I don't have a bank account.
Man, I don't know what to say about this. I don't understand how somebody can legally take this position as a business and not expect any type of blowback, from a congressional point of view, even from a business point. I don't understand this, and I think I texted you this the other day. I thought business was to get people's money, not to drive an agenda. And if you drive any particular agenda, whether it's left or right, you're going to potentially alienate the other side of your customer base. I've never seen this before, where companies actually pick a side instead of saying, out of it, I'm saying, I don't really care what you have to say, and I don't care what the other person has to say. I just want your money. That's what I thought economics was about, right?
That's a free market, and things get very scary when we're not in free markets anymore. Because, like you said, so if their goal, number one goal, isn't money, revenue, then what is their goal? Let me ask you, Ray. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. What is their goal?
It's one word and one word only: control. That's literally all it boils down to. Literally, it's human nature to want to control things. It shows it's like an act of dominance, and so that they're trying to take things from people. It's like the social credit system. This, in a way, is a social credit system. They're just not calling it that. Because a social credit system, what it is hey, if you said this thing on the internet, we're gonna knock you down a couple points so you can't go to this grocery store, or you can't go buy a car, or you can't take a flight. If this stays on this current path that it is right now, if it does, and I don't know if it will, but if it does, we're gonna become 1984 almost rather quick, sooner than later.
Well, let me ask you this: is this anti-American, or is this just anti-humanism? Because I mean, this is what communist governments do, right? I think this challenges every free country in the world if they were to do something like this.
Yeah, well, something similar is Michael Jordan. Obviously, this big quote, what Michael Jordan said. He says, Republicans, they also buy shoes too. So he didn't appeal to just people on the left. He appealed to everyone. That something like PayPal, which as big as it is, you think they would want to make the most amount of money as they possibly can, because that's what the ultimate goal is, to make money. That's why they would just make it allow anyone to use it. But now that they're coming after people from this, yeah.
So here's what's interesting. Both of you guys have expressed that you guys are relatively new to seeing and seeing this anti-Americanism movement in your face. I actually started to pick up on it in my teens. I just never knew what it was. I just thought it was part of cultural norms or cultural differences. Here's what I mean. You guys know, obviously I'm Hispanic. I grew up in a minority-filled city. It was half black and half Hispanic. And it seemed like being American or being pro-American was really not the cool thing to do. It was cool to be, Dominican. It was cool to be Puerto Rican. It was cool to be Cuban if you were in Cuban areas. It was cool to be Colombian, and so on and so forth. All these big major Hispanic countries. It's never cool really to be American. And so you were almost, at least from my experience, you were almost shunned if you were pro-American. So I kind of saw that at an early on stage. But I think where it really culminated for me was when this loser came onto the scene. I think it was pretty much obvious to everybody because anybody who supported this guy, his actions, his reasoning, they showed a level of anti-Americanism that I had never ever seen before. And that's when it really exploded for me. But I still noticed it even before this event. I started to really pay attention to Obama, the Obamas, I should say. And when Michelle Obama came on the scene and she said for the first time ever she had been proud to be an American when her husband got elected as president. So you're going to tell me at the age of, I don't know how old she was when Obama was elected. Let's just say she was in her 40s. You're going to tell me in your 40s is the first time that you were proud to be an American? Yet her pride fell so short because they did not hesitate in bashing America for the 8 years that they were in political power.
Yeah.
Very insightful.
Yeah.
I'll just say very insightful. I'll go, Ray. Very insightful because I noticed that stuff too, but I didn't know how big it was. Now looking back at it, I'm looking back at it even, more harsh than I did at the time. Very anti-American sentiment. It was the start of critical race theory. Everything Colin Kaepernick, became like a mascot for critical race theory. On Twitter, he tweeted, years ago, on 4th of July, happy 4th of July, everybody. And then in 2021, I believe it was, or 2020, he's like, well, this country is racist and all that kind of. His transformation is basically what the country has transformed into. What were you thinking, Ray?
Well, I was just going to say, back when this first started, like I said, I was blue-pilled. I actually was, like I said, I didn't do a whole lot of research. I was ignorant. I was actually into what Colin Kaepernick was saying. I actually believed it at that time. Like, I fully admit that. I apologize for that right now. I was so arrogant then. So, but yeah, now, like I said, I've gotten a little wiser. I've realized, okay, this guy he truly hates America. He hates what the founding principles are. Like, and like Carlos, you said it best though, when you came on my show one time, is that, I forgot. I think it was you, Osiris. My mistake. You said Obama was the one who truly started all this stuff right here. Like, he's also the one who got everyone into socialism and why everyone hates why this anti-American generation has sparked up. Because guess what? He was the first guy. He was the one who started this trend. If you oppose me, you are a racist. So, yeah, that's where we come now, and I don't like that we've come here. Like, I just don't like it.
So here's the interesting part is that, all the sentiments that you guys expressed is accurate. And the funny part is how the mainstream media, the elitists, Hollywood elite types, right, how they've gotten behind this movement. And what fascinates me is, I'll be honest with you guys, I love football. I play it to this day. I mean, I was just playing it not too long ago. And I absolutely love football. I've watched it since high school, faithfully. And I haven't watched it in the past 3 years. And why? Because ever since this nonsense started with the kneeling, and it's not that he kneeled, it's that he kneeled and the NFL backed him up. And then everybody started to kneel and so on and so forth. You know what that tells me? That you're an American-based country. You're an American-made country because the NFL is American, right? And you're showing your disdain and your hatred towards this country because that's what that guy's doing when he's taking the knee. He wasn't taking a knee for anything righteous. He wasn't taking a knee for any type of civil movement or anything of that nature. He took a knee. Remember, actually, he sat first. It wasn't the knee. He sat. Why? Because he got benched. That's really what it was. He was sour. And so somebody from the military reached out to him and said, hey, listen, if this is really what you're trying to do and trying to bring awareness, maybe you should take a knee. Because I remember on his conference that day, they asked him, why did you sit? And he gave up this phony baloney answer about oppression while he was wearing a Malcolm X with Fidel Castro shirt on. Imagine talking about you're against oppression and you have a shirt where Fidel Castro and Malcolm X are shaking hands. I mean, if that's not a contradictory picture, I don't know what is.
Out of all the people he could pick, he picked Fidel Castro for real. I wasn't aware of this part. I did not know about that.
Oh, yeah.
Osiris, you know which one I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, that was very famous. And then he was asked about it. So here's my big thing is, it's fine if you want to wear that shirt, you have your opinion. And so let me ask you about it and what can you articulate? Colin Kaepernick cannot talk about these topics. He was very quiet, if you notice. He doesn't talk a lot. And it's because, in my opinion, in part, that he can't explain what he's doing. A lot of it was, in my opinion, his girlfriend got converted into this critical race theory, this Black Lives Matter type stuff, and he kind of followed. And that's just speculation, but I've never seen him articulate these points, and he was asked about the shirt, and he could not articulate why he didn't. And that's why I have a bigger problem with that. If you're going to stand on something, stand on it. Tell me why. Why is it important to you? He also wore the pig socks, disrespecting local police, and couldn't articulate why he did that. So I understand. When I was younger, I actually listened to songs like Black Cop and that police. I had a little bit of a rebel against the police in me, but that was just kind of youthful ignorance. The Fidel Castro stuff, that's a whole nother level. And if you're going to wear a Fidel Castro shirt, you better be able to articulate why.
Well, here's the interesting part. So I had some moron debated me on this, and it was like, well, he's not wearing a Fidel Castro shirt. He's wearing a Malcolm X. Okay, he's wearing a Malcolm X with Fidel Castro in there. And what does it say there? Like minds think alike. What type of a thought process did Fidel Castro have? Here we are 60 plus years later, and the people of Cuba are still swimming across shark-infested waters trying to escape that mindset. So how do you then take a position that you're against oppression for your people? And again, I find it interesting that he's half black and half white, but he only associates or acknowledges one half, the cool half, right? The half that has this maybe a victim mentality, because that's what everybody's into right now, is a victim mentality type of thing, regardless of how successful you are. Like, for example, like he makes millions, or he makes millions with his promotion with Nike. No matter how good of a lifestyle that he seems to have, it's still cooler to be on the victim side, to be oppressed, and completely ignore the other side of the spectrum. And that's exactly what was happening to me as a teenager that I saw. It was cooler to present the minority side than it was to represent anything else. As a matter of fact, in 2021, I got branded a traitor because at the bank that I was working at, we had an international flag day, and everybody was to bring their flag of the country that they associated with, right? And so, and I worked in the Spanish unit at this particular time, and we were specific to our Spanish-speaking customers. And so, you saw the Dominican flag, the Colombian, the Mexican, whatever flags, Puerto Rican, etc. I had the American flag, and people came to me and asked me, so, hey, why do you, where are your flags? And I go, well, that's my flag. It's the red, white, and blue with stripes and stars. And they said, but aren't you like from Cuba or something? I said, no, my mom's from Cuba and my father's from Peru. I was born here. I don't know those countries. Those countries didn't do anything for me. So that's my flag, and that's the flag I'll choose to represent. And do you know that I got branded a traitor? I got black sheep so much that I had to go and complain to HR because of the shenanigans that were going on.
Wow. What a bunch of idiots.
It is what it is.
It's brilliant. Yeah, when you think about it, it's really brilliant. You take Colin Kaepernick, and he's one of the many faces of this. I talk about Jamel Hill a lot. She's a writer. I thought she used to be a great writer. She followed the same exact career arc as Colin Kaepernick. So she went out and she famously criticized Donald Trump. She got out of sports, and now she's literally the Colin Kaepernick of podcasting and writing. She writes for The Atlantic now. You do that, and you take it and you do it to corporations like PayPal. You do it every aspect of American society, and it's all wrapped up in this is a good thing. Like, so people right now consider Colin Kaepernick a hero. They think this is a good thing. So it's how do you control somebody like Ray was talking about, yet get them to believe in the control and passionate behind it? I don't know what else you could have done other than rally it all around, okay, here's the oppressed group, and I control who you use that weapon of oppression against.
And one thing that I want to touch on here that I have on the screen is to Osiris's point. This guy's been like a hero which is absurd because I don't know any other country. Let's take the Western white European countries out because they're facing the similar issues that we're facing here in the United States, like Canada and all that stuff, right? The UK, right? Let's look at minority base. I can tell you there's not one single Hispanic or Latin American country that if you piss on their flag, they would nominate that person a hero.
And what that is an attack on nationalism. So there's a reason why this stuff is happening. The rise of populism is the biggest threat to those in charge, I think. And if you don't stop nationalism, then it can lead to populism, a populist uprising, meaning we want power with people. We don't trust you guys anymore. Corporations, government, we don't do anymore. We want all the power localized. Everything from taxes to how to handle a health crisis. We want to do it locally. If you don't attack nationalism, then you might get people forming groups together, getting on podcasts together. If you don't censor them, they might hear what other people are saying, like normal people, and then they might uprise and say, I've had enough of this money to Ukraine. I've had enough of this whatever ideology, and we want to vote you out.